On today's Toy Spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Universe Marvel Legends Iron Man. You'd be correct. It's been a while since Spot's reviewed Marvel Legends, but I wanted to get back into it. This is the line of Marvel Legends coming to us from Hasbro. Featured at the top of the package is a really solid picture of Iron Man. And I also really dig the Marvel Legends logo down below. This is ages 4 and up. Spot picked this up actually from the good folks over at Big Bad Toy Store because unfortunately it's hit or miss. It is absolutely hit or miss what Spot's able to find in retail stores for Marvel Legends. Needless to say, though, on the back of the package is the same picture of Iron Man. A brief read-up says, powered by the sun and stronger than before, the invincible Iron Man blasts into battle. And then pictured behind Iron Man is several of his suits. Looking pretty nice indeed. Collect all 6 figures, each sold separately. Unfortunately, though, this particular wave does not seem to actually have collect and connect build figures, which is a bit of a shame. Those figures, however, that you can collect all 6 of, we have US Agent, we have Marvel Knights Punisher, which actually doesn't even say Punisher, it just says Marvel Knights. It says Iron Man, Doctor Doom, Deadpool, and X-Mutants Mystique. And again, it doesn't say Mystique, it just, because these 2 particular figures also are variants, they come with 2 other characters. I guess they want to reuse their packaging. Needless to say, speaking of packaging, what I'm going to do is get this opened up. When we come back, we're going to get a better look at Iron Man. There's definitely more to come. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Included with Iron Man, you'll get yourself a display base, which I think is the same display base as what we got with the Avengers Marvel Legends 6-inch style figures. And it also seems that if all the figures from this line also come with this same display base. They can't interlock, and I think it's kind of neat, though you really can't do all that much with them. 3 pegs, so you can pose Iron Man on any of those 3 pegs. His feet have both peg holes allotted on the backs of his, or bottoms of his feet. So peg him into place, not much of an issue at all. Moving that out of the way, let's have a look at Iron Man. Now, I think as a whole, I really like this figure. I think the one thing it excels in the most is certainly the paint. The paint on this Iron Man is phenomenal. I'm really loving the choice of color that they use, especially like the red. The red, you've got a nice dark, almost like a dark metallic cranberry red that they've used for the torso, obviously the side arms, the lower midsection, and also in the feet. I guess by some negative critique, unfortunately his shoulder pads, which are adjustable, his shoulder pads seem to be a different color, due likely maybe to the plastic that they used, a different color than the rest of his body. The rest of his body is a nice metallic, unfortunately omitted in the shoulders. So they stand out slightly, but I suppose from a distance you may not notice it all that much. The face is also done really nice. Nice use of gold. Paint, pretty clean. Speaking of paint also, on the side of his neck, his head seems like a pretty good color, but almost seems like his neck, possibly even like the back section of his head, also matches his hands. They're not quite the same color either as the red in the torso. So it seems like they're just slightly off on some of the coloring that they did. Also, when it comes to the torso, the upper torso joint where it bends is a different color in the torso than it is in the lower section. You can see that it's a lighter gold, which carries also into the legs, but it's a darker gold in the upper torso. Also, the arms match that of the legs. So really, this torso section seems to be just slightly off by coloring. Having said that, though, the coloring isn't so off that it's jarring. In fact, I still think the coloring is extremely nice on Iron Man, despite the fact that, you know, some of the gold doesn't line up just right. I find him, he seems a bit short. I don't know if it's just me, or perhaps the way that they've given him these much larger legs, but I find he feels short. And perhaps by comparison, when I get the other Marvel Legends opened up, I'm going to do like a little side-by-side comparison, but he does seem like he's a little stumpy. Just a slight bit stumpy. Initially, and though I don't know if that's correct, but I think initially when I got this Iron Man, I felt as if it was just a larger scale version to the comic series Iron Man that was from the 3 3/4 inch scale, which I think was from, it might have been from either the Iron Man, I know it was either Iron Man Series 1 or Series 2 of the movies. It might have been Iron Man 2, the comic series Iron Man. I felt as if he was just a larger version of him, but he seems like he could be slightly different. More importantly, like in the knees area, he seems like he could be a little bit different. Aside from really his size, and again, his size I think won't really bother me all that much. He seems short, but I'm not even going to spend a lot of time discussing that. But I think aside from that, he's done well. He's done really well. In the way of his articulation, he does have articulation in the head. I would imagine to be a ball joint, although you really can't move the head too much up and down. It's really hindered. Moving it left and right is certainly not an issue. He's got the upper torso crunch. His arms appear to be on hinge and socket joints, so you can move the arms up, and luckily those shoulder pads don't get in the way. They move and they will allow the arms to move out. Not a lot, but certainly enough if you want to have him posed, ready to blast. You can still do so. He does have a swivel in the bicep. He has what seems to be a double bend in the elbow. Double bend in the elbow, but really the obstruction in his gauntlet kind of prevents you from doing a whole heck of a lot with this double bended elbow. He does have a hinge and swivel in the hand, and it seems as if his hand isn't in all the way. Here we go. I wish they had actually painted the joint for the hand the same color as the hand itself, instead of giving it this very visible yellow tab. He does have a swivel in the waist, and when you get to the legs, he also has the swiveled hinge in the legs as well. So the legs do go forward and do go back, but to rotate him to the side, you still have to rotate this ball hinge out, allowing the leg to rotate sideways. He does have a swivel in the thigh, a double bend at the knee, which I really like, the double bend in the knee. He has a rotation in the boot. No real hinge in the foot itself, but the foot does rotate. I don't know if I would say he's the best Iron Man from all the Marvel Legends we've gotten. I mean, we get so many Iron Mans, but I would say from a showpiece, he looks nice. Even if you weren't going to pair him necessarily with other Marvel Legends, if you're going to have him just solely on a shelf by himself, I think he looks really, really nice. I think my issue might come with when you start having him up against other Marvel Legends. I feel as if he's still going to come across short, and that might just be my opinion of it. Would I recommend this Iron Man? I think I would. I still like the coloring. I think the coloring works really, really well. Can't seem to get quite pegged right into the display base here. But would I recommend him? I think I would. I don't think he's the best Iron Man, but I think he's still done really well. This particular Iron Man, I'm going to give him a 7.5. Today's toy spot, we're having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Iron Man. Thanks for watching, guys. Certainly stay tuned. Spot's got more reviews of Marvel Legends heading your way. I'll see you guys next time.